close together. Because Fran introduced me to Nina and said an amazing friend who raises horses and has a world-class winning horse, Golden Receiver, and she pulled it up on the internet and showed me your horse in a race, and it was floating. I remember it floating down the... She said, look, he barely touches the track. It's true, his little feet would barely touch, and he'd be moving across, and she was so proud of you.
I mean, I lived in the barn for 8 years before Golden Receiver's mother built me a house. She'd be racing at Yonkers because I had a commercial mortgage on the farm, and so no bank would give me a loan to build a house. So I lived in the barn for 8 years, and then his Golden Receiver's mother would be racing at Yonkers, and we're going, come on, Goldie, Mama needs windows. Yay, we got windows. Mama needs a heating system. Mama needs heating. Yay! And we had to build it all in cash, depending on how she raced. So the house was all built with love and with what these free horses, and then her offspring finished it up and put flooring in and this. The Golden Receiver built a beautiful deck off the back a couple of years ago. And he's also built all new running sheds. I have a new tractor, traded in my 1960 Kubota for a new tractor, and new roofs on the barn. That's
so
where...
you stud him to others?
No, he's a gelding.
Oh, he's a gelding, oh.
Yeah, but that's really okay because, I mean, I could have gotten a few breedings to him, but he's not, it's not just how much you make or how fast you are, it's your bloodlines. Yeah. And he doesn't have the bloodlines that people should be breeding to.
Yeah, I see.
You know, they call him a freak of nature, and whether it would go on or not, and who knows if he would have been the horse that he is today if he hadn't been gelded. So it's just, that's how it turned out.
Whose decision was that?
Mine.
What's the reason for that? Is a horse
it keeps he was getting very distracted. You know, we're jogging and he's looking over at the mares in the field and he's not keeping his mind on the business. And there's only probably 1% of all the horses that are ever born that should go on to stud.
So most of these horses that are racing that are not stud horses, they're all geldings.
Yeah, they're all geldings. All geldings, mares, and there's a few of them that are royally bred that have gone on to set world records, and they can breed 120 mares a year through artificial insemination. So that, you know, everybody's bred to the same few stallions, and you know, you breed your top mares to the top stallions, and that's why thoroughbreds are going the same speed they were going 20 years ago, and standardbreds have knocked close to over 20 seconds off their time from what they were going 10, 15 years ago because of such select breeding.
If you could just summarize the history of your horse, just
so go back to the beginning when I already told you guys?
Yeah.
All right. Once upon a time.
That's a good way.
There was, my husband really believed in me and bought me a farm. I loved horses. And we bought a horse farm in upstate New York. And at one point, we had this beautiful foal that I bred that came out. And I knew he was something very, very special. Just the way he would cover the ground. And I tried at that time to, farm was in kind of a lot of trouble financially, and I tried to get someone, because the winters are brutal in upstate New York, so I tried to get someone to take him south with all the young horses to train. And I told them, a lot of top trainers, that I would give them half the horse, that I would pay the bills later, tried to make all kinds of deals, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. So in any case, I started him his 3-year-old year. his first race, he where I had been training him, he ran around the track, and I would always be here waiting for him at the stable gate. So when we trained, so his first race, he went all the way around the track. He was back here, started last, passed everyone, and came up here, but then he made a right turn at the stable gate going, "Mama!"
Oh my gosh.
And all the other horses went by, and he was just looking for me. It was so cute. But
gosh.
still, they saw his speed, that in seconds,
Yeah.
you know, he was past everyone. So I raced him a little bit. My bank account was down to, I had $750 left on my overdraft. That was it. And all of a sudden, and I owed probably $75,000 on credit cards and overdraft, and all of a sudden you see in my bank statement $5,000 coming in this week, and then $7,000 the next week, and then $10,000 the next week. And his 5th race, he set a track record at Tioga Raceway, and I said, this horse is so out of my class. I was racing a lot of other people's cheaper horses at the local tracks, and I had a big farm and 50 horses to take care of, and I said, I cannot campaign this guy the way he needs, you know, for what he deserves. I don't know how to do it. He's out of my class. So I asked a couple of trainers, told them I had this absolutely incredible horse, and they saw a couple of races on film that he had done, and they were just awed. In fact, they mostly laughed at really the first one, where he passed the whole field and then went off to find me. They thought it was really funny. But so I ended up selling him and paid off all of my bills, and I kept 10% of him with no bills for the rest of his life. And since then, he was 3 years old. He's gone on to win $2.5 million. He is a darling at the racetracks. They call him the Golden One and the People's Horse. The winning horse gets $50,000. The horse that comes in second gets $25,000. Third gets $12,000. Fourth gets $8,000, and fifth gets $5,000.
And then that comes off the top, and then the rest gets distributed between the bettors and all that kind of. Those that bet on it.
No, that's the purse money. It's completely separate.
I see.
That has nothing to do with what's bet. That's what the purse is.
Do you vote? Do you bet on your horses,
No.
or is it illegal?
It's probably.
No, it's legal, but I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it.
So
I'm just not a bettor. You know, I just want to present my horse at the track to a top driver. You know, the driver that I want. That a horse that's happy, healthy, wants to be there, and is competitive.
Do you get into it with how to race the horse with the driver? That's up to him, right?
You don't tell. No one ever tells a driver how to race him. The only thing the drivers want to know is he safe behind the gate? And the drivers are so incredibly talented. It's like a little thin fishing line. You know, a piece of, you know, that are the lines. And just by warming them up and going through the post parade, they know more about that horse than you could ever tell them. And plus, they've got the past performances to follow. They study. The drivers, the top drivers, will get like 5 people maybe in the race will want this driver on their horse. Well, he will go back over everything and see which horse, you know, how that horse, if he leaves the gate, if he
Does he get to select?
comes. Oh yeah, and then he picks the one he wants.
See, I thought that the owner selected.
Well, we ask, but then, you know,
Then he can deny or.
he can take or deny. You know. Luckily, I mean, with the horse like this, everybody wants to drive him. You know, he's just so amazing that it's a thrill for anybody just to be able to sit behind him, to jog him. I mean, like I said, people come up and ask to take selfies.
How does the driver get paid?
Okay, from from the purse money, say he makes, just keep it round, say he makes $10,000, you know, the horse wins that of the purse money. Mm-hmm. The driver gets 5%, so he'll get 500. The trainer gets 5%, and he gets 500. So that 10% of 10,000, which is $1,000, gets taken off before anything. The race secretary, the treasurer, takes that out. And the drivers who drive every week, that money just accounts for them, and the trainer just accounts until the end of the month. The racetrack sends those drivers and trainers their 5% off the top. So really it's then only $9,000 that gets written to the owner.
Because I'll never forget one time I bet on a horse and he broke his pace or whatever you call it. And everybody said, well, you know, it was probably the driver, you know, he had that set up. He could make it.
Everybody thinks they're so rigged.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for a fact, in the old days they probably were. Now, as far as drugs, they take 4 tubes of blood and a whole thing of urine from every horse that wins, second, or finishes up. They all go to laboratories. You can't get away with anything. They have outlawed every drug, which they find. And as far as drivers, the worst thing drivers do is not, you know, and I've been doing this for 30 years, training horses and turning them over to the driver. They don't do it to bet or to rig money. Because the purses now are so big because of the racinos and the casinos that have come in, and the prestige of being a top driver is so important
that they wouldn't risk.
They're not going to risk, you know, that. They want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to win. They do everything they can to win. They pick the best horses that that they're on to win. They study the programs and they want to win. Because it's all, you know, there's so much prestige and it's ego. The horses that were owned by shahs and syndicates and that paid hundreds of $1,000s for them at the sale, and here's this little guy bred in a backyard in New York that was just blowing their socks off. So he's like the hero of the little people, and he's gone on for 10 years, and he's always donated part of his earnings to charities, to new locations where they find new homes and recondition retired racehorses for their new life as a trail horse or a show horse, and find them a love and family. He also contributes to the Harry Angel Foundation, which places golden retrievers, which is kind of how he got his name, with autistic children and child services. They raise them, breed them, train them, and then place them at no cost. He also has sponsored the Equitarian Foundation, where we go over to poor countries, third world countries, with veterinarians and work on their donkeys, their mules, their horses. It's got no pets. We just do working animals that help people survive. So, okay, now he's 10 years old, and he is still in the top echelon racing against the 10 best horses in the world. But they're 3 and 4 and 5 years old, and he's 10, so he's still getting a little bit of checks now and then. But he's not checks, purse money. But he's not winning like he always did. He always went to the front, cut the mile, and won. And so he's getting a little discouraged. And finally, the owners and I, came to agreement that he should be retired. So we put out all kinds of full-page color ads in all the industry magazines, and said that he's retiring, and it was quite a big deal. Meadowlands Racetrack had a retirement party for him.
Oh my gosh.
And
Meadowlands, oh my gosh.
yeah, that's good, because he was the Meadowlands horse. I mean, that was their, he was just huge there. So he's on their Christmas card. He's the only horse on their Christmas card. It's just, he's been very, very special. So it was all special when he retired. We thought, okay, you can come back to the farm that he was born at, where his mother lived, where his sisters are, and he's going to come back to my little farm at Windy Hill in upstate New York. So he came home, and for 2 weeks he raced around in the paddock. He had so much fun. He was just kicking up his heels, and we gave him girls and saw which mares he wanted to be with and liked, and he loved it. But about the 3rd week, he started hanging at the gate all day long, going like this. And then we brought him in and we put him down in the race part of the barn where all the race horses are. I thought he might like to see that activity. Well, that was fine, except they were getting to race and he wasn't. And he wasn't very happy about that at all. So what he did, he started kicking the walls. He trashed his stall. He emptied his food buckets. He did everything possible to let us know that this was a very unhappy horse. And so our whole point was to make him happy. He made all of us well off, and we just wanted his legacy and him to be happy, and he wasn't. So I talked to the other owners, and I said, what do we do here? And they said, well, why don't you just jog him, you know, keep him in training, keep him sharp. So we started jogging him, and then we trained him a few trips, and he's just loving it. He goes out with his tail up in the air and his head up like, I am a champion of the world, which he is. And the rest of them are, you know, you guys are chopped liver. So he has a very strong sense of self-esteem. And so we thought, where are we going to go? We've already announced his retirement everywhere. How can we come back and race him? The other horsemen and trainers are going to be mad if I just race him in lower echelon races, because he's going to smoke everybody and they're going to be racing for second money. So they're going to be mad. And I don't want to race him every week, just when he wants to, and he lets us know what he wants to do. So I talked to his owners, and they said, well, we came up with the idea, what if we race him for charity? So he is coming back. He's going to qualify next week at Vernon Downs in upstate New York. And every penny he makes is going to go to charities. So the racetracks are all excited, because here's a really big name horse at smaller tracks that don't usually get that kind of, of attention. So they want to put a big promotion on. Golden Receiver is here. And we figure nobody can be mad at us, because all of his money's going to charity. So he's going to race for breast cancer, for whatever charity, you know, that they approach the other owners and the racetracks want to have. And hopefully it's not just going to be him. We're hoping to lure in some of the other really big trainers and stables that make a lot of money and say, hey, why don't you come up here and race it and donate your money to it too, and donate your money. So we really are, this has never happened in the history of horse racing, of thoroughbreds or harness or anything, where a world champion has come back and you know, from retirement and raced for charity. So we're all really excited about it. The other owners are paying all of his bills. They want to leave a legacy, and they want him to leave a legacy and him to continue to be a champion and support charities. So that's what we're doing. It's a whole new thing, and I'm looking forward to participating.
How did you come up with the name Golden Receiver?
Well, because I've raised golden retrievers all my life. We've always had golden retrievers, and his mother's name is Royal Gold. So we tried to fit gold into all of her babies. So one day I'm jogging. I've got a good half-mile regulation racetrack, and which I've spent more hours on than could ever be believed. And I'm sitting there jogging him one day and thinking, gold, gold. And I look down and here's my golden retriever running along next to me, and I'm golden receiver. And it just turned out to be a perfect name where everybody loves it and they love him. Like I said, he's got thousands of fans on his Facebook. You can friend him and see what's going on, although right now we're kind of staying under the radar until we know for sure, which we'll know next week, if he really wants to do this or not when we take him to qualify. So we're not telling anybody about it right now until we qualify him and he gives us the go-ahead, because he's calling all the shots. We're turning him out, we're jogging him, whatever he wants to do, that's what we're going to do, because he's that kind of classy horse who is that smart. And we're just, okay, buddy, you know, you're calling the shots.
Yep.